All right, so welcome to another video from the chart readers. We're going to do a new sector today. We're actually going to look into the weed industry today. So I have about 7 tickers we're going to try to look at. This is not an industry I've done before, so we're going to set up our new horizontal lines. And yeah, if you've seen these before, you should know what we're looking at now, right? So we're going to start like we normally do. We're going to start with what I kind of consider the big boy or big girl in the sector, right? So we will start with TLRY. We're always looking on the daily. We'll start on the top as usual with the moving averages, and then sometimes I go a little quick and I don't look at the bottom too much, but I will do my best to make sure we hit the bottom. So yeah, what are we looking at? So we are looking at TLRY, and there's a few things right off the bat, right? So I'm just going to kind of zoom out to get a good idea of the picture. So like a lot of the stocks that we've talked about on the different sector views, everything kind of went bad around this like April timing, right? So around April, we basically lose the 8. Then we go on a path of losing the 100, the 20, and the 50. And we just, ride under the 8, right? It's a very similar story that a lot of these tickers saw during that time period. It looks like this was maybe the first, not even maybe, this was the first attempt at the 20. And clearly it was almost the last attempt until recently, right? So as we zoom in, it looks like a few things are actually happening here. There have been moments where this 20 and the 8 have been overtaken, and it looks like the 50 is now kind of coming into play too, right? The one thing just real quick is there hasn't been a lot of full confirmations. So there was definitely a nice gain of the 8 right here. Unfortunately, it was just a little too close to the 20, and as we've seen, we get slapped down, right? Then it makes a nice little run again, doesn't quite have that confirmation we want, and then this somewhat looked like a good little confirmation of both lines, but then kind of what happened earlier, the 50 comes in. Right now, we're sitting at a pretty nice place. This is literally the last couple days of trading, right? So we closed over the 8 and the 20, and we actually got a second day confirmation closing over the 8 and the 20. This 50 is now going to be a big test, right? We've had one attempt here, and I think that was actually the only attempt, yeah, since that April timing, right? Excuse me. So, a lot of stocks are starting to break through the 50, and hey, if TLRY can do it, that can definitely help drive a lot of the stocks, right? Especially in this sector. So let's make some horizontals. I am going to use this right here. I think, oh, perfect. And it pretty much lines up with the bottom there. That's good to see. I will put one right here. I think that'll be a good one. And it pretty much lines up with the 50, which is nice to see. I will put one, I think, right here. That looks like a good one. I'll put one right here. Nope, sorry. A little more on both of these ones. Nah, let's actually just put that right here. I'm going to go ahead and just use this big one instead. I wanted to use these two. This looked like something, but instead I just went with the bottom of this guy. So I think this is a pretty good 4-step tier. And you know what? Just because I'm generally optimistic, let's give one more up here. So hopefully we kind of break this 50 and maybe make a run to a little over 4. Otherwise, hey, there's a good chance we fail on the 50, get slapped down maybe to this, lower end of the $3, and then hopefully make another run. But overall, it actually does look fairly positive. Again, 2 days in a row, we broke the 8 and we broke the 20. So if you watch the major market videos, they're all actually doing pretty well. So as the market does well, so should these stocks, right? Hey, look, that actually looks very nice. The MACD is coming up on the 0, right? I rarely talk about these numbers, but hey, positive is better than negative. That's just a simple thing. And then green is over the red, and it kind of looks like they might be at a good place where they might start taking off from each other, right? So diverging from each other versus converging from each other. And then let's see, hey, look, RSI is actually kind of doing the exact same thing, right? Starting to do a little baby takeoff, which is good to see. So TLRY actually looks pretty nice. And again, as the big boy goes, so should the other tickers, right? So I'm hoping to see a lot of this translate into the next ones we look at. So from there, let's go to number 2. At some point, it looks like this should merge, right? I believe TLRY made a play to buy Aurora. Nonetheless, We are still looking at Aurora separately. So Aurora on the daily, we're going to start with the moving average and we'll make our line. So, you know, not as positive, but actually a lot of the same story, right? There's been some attempts at breaking the 8, you know, breaking the 20, some fails, some breaks, some fails. First look at confirmation, but again, this 50 was a little much, and hey, it might have just done the fail and swing up, right? So right now, I wouldn't get in at all until we're over the 8. That's the minimum rule, right? So we are under the 8. We're also under the 20, which is not good, right? But nonetheless, it might be doing what looks like the fail might have ended, and hey, hopefully it does a swing up, right? Let's put some lines here. I think this is obviously one right here. I really wish I can just keep multiple clicks. I'm going to use this big guy right here, I think. I think that's a good line. Again, is it perfectly on it? You can kind of see that little black gap. Again, we're not looking for perfect here, right? We are looking for just a good guide up or down, right? It's better to just have a step up or step down to assume than otherwise. You know, you could use this one, you could use this one. I went with this one because it also actually hit this one, right? So that's just a little extra confirmation. And then let me zoom out. Is there anything... Wow, look at that gap. That's a hard gap. If 165 breaks, I mean, honestly, the next real one is right here, right? I would need to zoom out a pretty far away to find any information in between there. So that is a pretty sexy gap if it does actually get filled. So, and again, look, it hits right there, almost the top of that. Almost the bottom of that. That's a pretty hard line. A break of 165 would be beautiful. So look, there's a couple ways to play this, right? Again, this is by no means financial advice or anything. I would say, you know, this might be a little bit better of a line, actually. I know it's only a couple cent different, but you know, you're gonna give up a couple cents, but I think this is actually a little bit harder of a line. And look, you go there, there, there. Yeah, this is a better line. Nonetheless, look. There's a couple ways. If you at least can get a close, if you can get over the green, you know, you can play between the green to this line. If you can break this, obviously these two are kind of together, these two being the 50 moving and this line. And then again, the real sweet spot is just you break 165, you've got a nice little gap right there that should fill pretty healthy. And look, the next line is up there, right? So maybe by the time it fills, it'll get closer and just kind of confirm it. But yeah, that's the money play right here if it happens. So let's look at what we're looking at again. Kind of what we saw, right? Coming in on the 0 number, not quite that takeoff that we saw with TLRY, but yeah, not that bad. Give me a second, it's not caching. That's a nice RSI though. Hey, that's actually a nice RSI. So yeah, let's see if it could get over the 8 from there. Let's hope good things, right? So that was ACB. So next up is Cura. Okay. So because Cura Leaf is still on the Canadian tickers, it's bringing me to this over-the-counter one of CURLF. I live in the U.S., right? So the Canadian ticker I cannot trade. I have to buy the over-the-counter. So every now and then that's something that you'll find and you just got to adjust as it comes, right? What's my cat doing? Get out of here. Sorry about that. My cat was being bad. So Cura Leaf actually does not look very good, right? It seems to have made a really nice run, obviously in the past, what is that? Give or take the last week or so, right? It made a break of the 8, the 20, the 50. It obviously got over the 100, right? It did fail, and we're obviously below all of them. But in a lot of ways, it's good to see that there was a ticker in here that's already broken not only the 50, but actually the 100. I imagine the fact that this is the over-the-counter one, the volume is going to be a little bit lower. So I actually didn't realize it was going to take me there. But nonetheless, look, we're going to do the exact same thing, right? We need to get over the 8 before we even consider this. So there's actually a lot that needs to happen before I would even come close to touching this. However, there are some good setups, right? We've already broken these. So if it gets a nice run, there's actually a really good chance that it'll break it again, right? I'm going to go with this bigger one instead of this guy. Nice. And it was the bottom of that, so that was nice to see. We'll do the top and bottom of those. And then, actually, I think this is a nice one for that. You know what? This is a nice one. I think that's a good one. I want to hit the top of that. Cool. Okay, so I think this is a pretty decent up and down. There's obviously a lot that needs to happen, but again, the lines, yeah, the lines don't look bad on this. So it needs to clearly do a lot to be good in the positive, right? But it's just really nice to see these higher moving averages already break. Again, they failed, but just overall for the sector, that's nice to see. And again, this is the over-the-counter one, so I imagine the Canadian ticker itself would look good. I'm going to kind of skip this, but nonetheless, we do still have our lines here. So this next one's actually an ETF. I don't look at a lot of ETFs often. I think with a small enough sector, you know, the weed one being one of those in my opinion, an ETF is actually a really good thing to look at because that, almost like TLRY, if the big boys or the ETFs do well, the little ones should as well, right? So and really this MSOS, the multi-state operators, something along the lines of that, actually has a lot of the same story of TLRY. Again, April it loses the 8, makes its way down, clearly has one attempt at the 20, fails, and then roughly is around where TLRY is. TLRY looked a little better from what I remember, but there was an attempt at the 50, it broke. We are under the 8, but it kind of looks like this 20 might have caught us, right? It looks like we went whoop, and then kind of is doing that little curve up that Aurora almost looked like it was doing, right? So not too bad to see. Again, I like seeing consistencies across sectors, right? I say that when I talk about the big markets. I'm obviously saying that now when I'm talking about these ones, right? I'm going to put one right there. I'm going to put one right there. Oh, we're a lot lower than that. Okay, let's... it looks like we're actually pretty much sitting on that one. Yeah, look at that. That makes sense. I'll do you. Let's use the top of this guy. That's close enough, whatever. Okay, I think that's a pretty good step up and step down. Yeah, if we were to lose the 20, I can see us coming down to 11. Hopefully what is happening is we've gotten that bounce off the 20 and we go up. Again, it looks like this 1220 lines up pretty well with the 8 as well right now, right? So again, you always want to be over the 8. If you find yourself getting caught by a moving average, there is a way to play that. That's its own little game. And when it happens kind of in this like natural channel, again, I didn't make these lines before I came here, right? So when the channels kind of line up with the bounce, hey, there's a nice little percentage between 1165 and 1220 if it plays out, right? So, but again, MSOS looks a little bit like TLRY, which is good. Let's see what the lower indicators look like. Nice. Okay. This is a little more converging, right? So it looks like they're coming closer together than they are going away from each other. The green's still over the red, so that's good, right? And hey, if it bounces up, maybe it'll do a nice little jump. But hey, it's playing around on the 0 line, right? So what is the RSI? Okay, cool. Yeah, you can see. Again, the RSI failed. It kind of came down. Hopefully we are seeing a bounce with the green crossing over, and maybe we'll see a little lift here. So MSOS, hopefully kind of like TLRY, looking a little bullish. So I wanted to look at TrueLeaf, but again, TrueLeaf is a Canadian one. So I'm going to look at HEXO because HEXO is on the NASDAQ. So HEXO doesn't look as good as the rest. That kind of sucks, actually. We're kind of cheating by looking at these lower ones now. But again, we normally just start up here because really the meat of the meat on the bone is up here, right? And there is not a lot of good stuff happening here. Yeah, there was one nice little break day here, but it clearly was basically an outlier with nothing even close to confirmation behind it, right? So HEXO does not look good. And really, we got to get over this 20-cent line, right? Obviously, it's only a penny away, so it doesn't seem like a lot, but a penny is basically, you know, what is that? It's almost 10%, right? It's you know, 10% is 2 cents, right? So it's 5%. A 5% jump is pretty big. So I don't like HEXO too much. It's a little in this tight window here. I wasn't expecting that. Clearly that's going to be a big one if it can break over that. The problem with penny stocks is you want to be a little more accurate, right? Because every penny counts, right? But just, you know, again, we're just kind of making these steps. So it's like I say, it gives you the guide. We'll put one right there. And then we'll put another one, yeah, on this guy. Okay, so again, they're basically one-step increments, right? 1 cent increments. But yeah, HEXO is just a little too tight for me and really too far under the green when a lot of others are either closer to that 8 moving average or almost there. And then last one on the list is MMEN. Oh, MMEN is not. That is also going to be an over-the-counter one. I guess I'll just look at it. MMEN. Yeah. See, again, we have to look at the pink, right? Yeah. I'm not going to chart this out. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I trade penny stocks. I'm not going to pretend I don't, right? But I don't want to do a 5-cent one on this video. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just do it. All right. Again, you kind of get the game at this point, right? Looking for the big one. I guess we'll take this guy right here. And then we'll take this guy right here. That's at least a decent 3-step right there. Again, we're definitely under all of them, right? We've lost the 8 for now a number of days. It looks like there's a little curve here, right? I don't know if I have to zoom out to see if there is another line underneath or not, right? But just in the immediate, hopefully we bounce off the 0.551 and make our way up here. Again, there's a good percentage in these, right? So that's actually why I drew it out. Like, I don't want to pretend you can't do good things here if you don't know what you're doing, right? And again, the lines will help you do it. I just, I'm a fan of staying on the major markets because really you'll get more volume. And trust me when I say you need volume to do a lot of the things that we're kind of charting out, right? Volume gives you momentum. Momentum lets you break lines. So, yeah. But hey, this was not a bad run of the industry. I'll be honest, I really wish I kind of prepped on the tickers because I didn't think the Canadian index thing was going to mess me up as much. So I will figure that out next time around. But nonetheless, TLRY looks pretty good. MSOS looks pretty good. And hopefully that kind of carries a lot of these lower ones, right? Again, there's no financial advice at all. I'm not telling you to buy anything or what to do, but just, hey. And if you haven't already, check out the website. I do put my videos along the 3 of these. And then, you can sign up for the emails down here. I'll be honest, I've been a little lazy with the emails. But YouTube, it seems to be the best way to just get updated as I make these. So, hey, good luck out there.